Jay here for Stretford, Paddock, and this is Transfers Live. Joining me is my friend and co-host.
Hi,
friend
mate.
first, co-host second. Alex Baggers, how are we doing, mate?
I'm good. Today's been a bit hectic. It wasn't meant to be either. But UEFA decided to drag things on for 4 hours today.
Mate, that Champions League, right? I cannot stand Champions League draws. They're the worst thing ever. As to paraphrase one of the Academy hosts, the Oscars hosts, it's like 5 minutes of entertainment spread out over 90 minutes.
It's
Like they could just go right, there's the draw, and instead you get like the wheel out pop stars and all sorts. I didn't even watch it today. I don't even know what.
No, but they put all like the awards and stuff in the middle, in between. So they drew like the first pot, and then they bring out goalkeeper of the year for the men's and women, and then they do pot 2, defender of the year, and you're like, just get on with it. Or what?
And it's like it's a tough ask in it to watch it. Do you know what I mean? Because
Me and Steve did. So if you want to go and watch that back,
we did the Europa last year, and it didn't take half as long. That's one of the advantages of being crap. It's like you're just watching Europa draw, and it was just like 5 minutes. Oh, there you go. We've got Sevilla again. Anyway, enough about the Champions League draw. Let's get back to transfers. Although we'll be looking at the very end of the hour, we'll look at the Champions League and also a few other bits and pieces. But this is about transfers. So for a change, let's talk about Jadon Sancho. Now, I don't know if you've heard about him, Jadon Sancho. Young lad from Dortmund, been linked with him. I don't know.
Was he the lad that was at City for a bit? Yeah.
He was. I think he was at City. Yeah.
And
apparently, a few journalists, in varying degrees of respectability, have claimed that we might be in for him. But the sort of this has been doing the merry-go-round. We've had all sorts of stories about Jadon Sancho coming to United now. What we do know is that United want him. What we do know is that Jadon Sancho wants to come to Manchester United. What we do know is that Dortmund named a price that was around 120 million euros. They also set a deadline of August the 10th, and we know that United didn't put a bid in for that amount, and they certainly didn't put it in before August the 10th. So you've been in this sort of stalemate for the last, what is it, August the 10th, whatever we're on now, however many weeks that is. Yep. My maths is terrible, but lots of weeks anyway, where will he, won't he? United going to come in with a bid? Is he going to try and force a move? Now, there was some stories doing the rounds that he was sort of not going on strike, but letting everyone know that he wasn't happy and he didn't want to sort of stick around, and that there was sort of that he'd had this sort of illness that was actually him being upset. We spoke to Konstantin Eckner, a journalist over in Germany. We spoke to him. I'll get to his quotes later on, and he said that Sancho maybe had a bit of the Dembele-itis because when Dembele was at Dortmund, he did something similar where he wasn't fit. Yep. In other words, he wanted to move to Barcelona. But one of the stories coming out today is that actually Dortmund, despite everything that's gone on, are willing to sell Jadon Sancho. Yep. But, there is clearly a willingness, you see on the graphic, from Borussia Dortmund to do a deal for Jadon Sancho. Now, this was coming out on Sky earlier on. Now, what the there's a few journalists that have picked this up and have been running with this idea that a deal can still be done if Manchester United meet the demands of Dortmund. Mm-hmm. It's not set in stone, and there's still even a certain element of, even if United go in with 120 million, which is what Dortmund always ask for, it's not guaranteed that Dortmund say okay, because they could say, you miss your deadline, we've made plans for this season, and we cannot spend that money to get anyone else in during that time. However, as you can see from that graphic, there's still this feeling that it's not dead, and the reason it's not dead is if United were to pay the amount that Dortmund are asking for, then perhaps a deal can get done. Guys, do hit like as well. Get involved in the comments. Let us know what you think about this. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you're not subscribing. Sancho has been back in training today. Janaga Fjortov, who I don't really trust him on transfer news, I'm being brutally honest, but I trust him that he knows when someone's been in training. And he said that Jadon Sancho is back in training today, and Fabrizio Romano, who I do trust, retweeted that. Yep. Fjortov also said no bidding today, which is what we were sort of hearing ourselves as well when we spoke to, not that we're in the know, but we speak to journalists like Konstantin Eckner, as mentioned earlier, and a few others, and that's the general feeling. I mean, where do you stand on this now, Baggers? We've gone over this and over this and over this. There's 4 days left of the transfer window. I'll ask you the question I ask you every single time we're on here. Do you reckon it's going to get done?
I've still got a sneaky feeling that it might do. I still think that I said that surely, I mean, we know how bad this board has been, but it gets to a point where you have to back a manager and you have to go out and get someone. And I think that They saw what happened under Jose when you didn't.
Someone in the comments saying Sancho was not trained today. Well, Jan Fjortov and Fabrizio Romano could be wrong if that's the case. Yeah. Sorry, go
on. And you saw what happened when he didn't get the centre half he needed before that season. You saw that almost under Moyes as well. You saw how they didn't back him and get the midfielder that the team was crying out for at the time. And you saw how poor the team did in both those situations where they just kind of fell off completely. And I don't think United are quite at that level. I think we're at a better standard than both of those teams at the positions they were in. But at the same time, I think that the lift it would give the team to get Jadon Sancho over the line would be massive. And I think not getting someone like Sancho in and not getting anyone in that right-hand side could be... I mean, I mentioned it all year. I think that people say it's not the fix of all problems, but it makes a massive difference to that front three that we've got now to make it a fourth quality player in there. It means that we can rotate. It means that we don't have to... I mean, we had Igalo play the night and you could see the difference in quality straight away. I think he looked really, really poor against... I think you mentioned it in the Luton game, but I think that he had the bit of excuse he hadn't played, but he came in the night and looked really, really poor. But players like Greenwood could have played that night because it meant that maybe he doesn't have to start the weekend. But now, Rashford, Martial, Greenwood have to play this weekend. And that really means that when they have to, you can rest them. And I think we need a bit more quality. And I don't know. It seems like they have to do it. They have to just go and do it now. It seems that, obviously, with Dortmund coming out today and saying that, or the rumours coming out that they will accept it, I think United just need to go, look. I mean, we spoke about the Champions League draw. We've got 3 very tough games, or 6 very tough games there.
Paul Holden says, it's a done deal, lads. He's just been doing piano lessons for the last 6 weeks. I like that, mate. I like that. That was the worst announcement video in the history of association football.
Yeah, but did you not see how many engagements he got on Twitter?
yeah. Doesn't matter with any trophies. We got more engagements.
I mentioned that last night on the watch along and said a little bit about a bit of a conspiracy behind United being slow at transfers in the fact that it means that everyone constantly tweets about Man United. It means they constantly tweet about Sancho. So if they'd have done this in August, no one would have been tweeting about Man United for the last 2 months, would they?
No.
So you leave it to the last minute, you leave it till now, and then the euphoria of United fans, you're still going to get a bit of stick. But like I said, there is still the people that put in Manchester United's investor pack how many engagements the Alexis Sanchez thing did in comparison to the other transfers that summer, and that is one of the things they care about. And Sancho on transfer deadline day does better than Sancho on the 10th of August.
Don't forget, this is like when Woodward went to, was it Jurgen Klopp who was trying to get in as manager? And he said he compared us to Disneyland or something, and then he spoke about, remember in his interview when he spoke about making us like Coca-Cola. I mean, the guy just does not understand football or a football club. When you're talking about how many engagements you get, how you're going to be like Coca-Cola, or how this club can be like Disney or something equally as ridiculous. Lots of conflicting sort of comments here. I'm reading the comments, guys. See what you're saying. People are saying that he was in training, that he wasn't in training, that he went into training to have some sort of test ahead of the England internationals, or that he trained separately. People saying that Sky were outside, they didn't see him. People saying that he was there. So we're glad we cleared that one up. Listen, whether Jadon Sancho was in training or not, the fact of the matter remains to be seen. The fact of the matter remains, that he isn't coming anywhere, Manchester United, if we do not put a bid in. Now, earlier today, we spoke to Konstantin Eckner. He's a journalist in Germany who's, he covers Dortmund, he covers other clubs as well. He's someone who's sort of been giving updates on this situation as well and tweeting about it, and a lot of people have been getting involved.
I don't want to see this.
What's this? Oh, yeah.
Chelsea.
Yeah, and basically, he said, during an interview we did with him this morning, it was great stuff, he spoke for ages, but one thing he said that sort of deflated me a bit was I was talking about Jadon Sancho coming this summer. Now, you know my opinion on it, I don't think he's coming, I think we'll get him next summer, but, that's just my personal opinion, most people disagree with it, is often the case. So I asked him about that, and he said, next summer, the only problem with that is there could be other suitors, and he said that even someone like Chelsea could make a move for Sancho next summer, because I don't even know Chelsea aren't short of a few quid.
No, they've spent a bit this summer, haven't they?
They spent a bit this summer, right, which you may think, well, they're not going to spend 100 million or whatever next summer because they just spent 230 million or whatever it is. This summer, well, this is Chelsea we're talking about, don't forget. They've got an owner who's not short of a few quid.
He can just do what he wants.
Yeah, he can do what he wants. And also, they have this sort of almost bottomless pit of players, Chelsea, they can get rid of. People forget that. They've got so many players on their books. It's ridiculous. Yeah. They can, if they needed to, say, get rid of a few to bring in someone, even a Jadon Sancho, I think it's doable for them. I really do. But he was saying that maybe Chelsea could come in for a move for him next summer. He's also saying as well that, yes, Jadon Sancho wants to move to Manchester United. That's set in stone. But somewhere like Chelsea wouldn't be sort of a club where Jadon Sancho's dead against.
No.
Because you think about it, if you're Jadon Sancho, he's not affiliated with Manchester United, he just wants to come back to England, play for a big club like United. If Chelsea was to throw enough money at him, and he's not Cotton, he's from Watford, I think, he's from down south.
No, but was he not a Chelsea fan?
He's a Chelsea fan.
I think he might have been a Chelsea fan growing up.
So it's not beyond the realms of possibility that if United don't get him this summer, then we can, we might have to get involved in some sort of
well, that's it. That's the
bidding war next season, and you don't want to do that with Chelsea.
Well, that's the whole point of this season. Everyone has been going on saying that, look, if he doesn't come, if he comes this summer, the reason this summer is so important isn't because he's going to be the right price and next summer he's going to get a new contract and stuff, because it's probably going to be around the same price this summer or next summer.
Yep.
The problem is now is that next summer, Madrid are going to be in. Barca might have a bit more cash flying about because they have to.
It's weird because Barca have been skint this.
They have, but they've also got to get rid of. Messi's probably going to go next season.
Yeah,
they're going to. Well, his yearly wage is about fucking 120 million in it, something like that. You get him off the books. You've got to transfer in just wages alone. So,
I mean, the thing is, if Messi does go as well, Barcelona are going to have to bring in someone big. They're going to have to bring in probably a few because their fans will absolutely riot. So if next summer, if next summer Barcelona say, right, all right, Messi's, that's it, he's done, he's going, City come in with 400 million or whatever it is, or something stupid. And for starters, that probably funds Jadon Sancho. But even if you don't get a lot of money, then, or they do get a little bit of money, they're going to have to go big and bring in enough stars or enough big players where the fans don't, riot and burn down the Camp Nou, because we saw the scenes when he looked like he was going to go this summer. They went crazy. Next summer, that happens. Barcelona are going to have to spend big. And also, let's not forget. All right, Barcelona have money at the minute, but this is a team that spent 145 million on Felipe Coutinho. They spent loads of money on Ousmane Dembele, of course, who we'll get to in a minute.
Griezmann as well.
Griezmann, they spent.
Suarez, they spent 80 on.
They spent 140, 120, 100 mil.
They've been trying to replace Messi for years now with that kind of spending, and they may be forced into it next year where they literally have to as well. People saying Barcelona will get Neymar, but that's not guaranteed.
There's still gonna. I mean, it could do us a favour where we don't have to play him this season in the Champions League. That's that bit it. Guys, get involved in the comments. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about Jadon Sancho. Do you think he is coming? Some people saying it's not happening. Some people saying next summer. Some people saying he's done. He's already. It's a done deal. Don't worry about it. I don't know if I quite share that confidence. Fabrizio Romano, who is sort of Mr. Tier 1 of the Tier 1ers, said, at the moment, as by 2 months, Jadon Sancho deal is stalling. Borussia Dortmund want 120 million euros or nothing. It's up to United. Dembele is the backup option, and Man United are negotiating for a loan from Barcelona, asking for permanent. That's it. So we mentioned Ousmane Dembele a minute ago, and now Barcelona spent a lot of money on him. Just looking here as well, super chat coming from Carl Newton. Gary Cottle over at Dortmund today confirmed Sancho didn't train but turned up for a COVID test, then left United. Need to get this deal done. That clears that up. So he was there, but he had a COVID test, didn't train, according to Gary
Cottle. A weird one that he's been pulled out of the squad and ill, but has still been picked for England.
It's all very strange. This whole saga has been very strange. There's been a few twists, and there may well be one final twist in the tail. Right, back on Ousmane Dembele. What are your thoughts?
I don't think it's the best option, to be honest. I think that his injury record alone, how good of a player he is, I think he's not, even when he's played for Barcelona, stood out. But the big thing is that injury record. I think it's worse than Gareth Bale's, and that's been pretty. It's been. People saying about Gareth Bale, he'll come in and be injured straight away. Dembele is kind of in the same kind of boat for me. Been really poor in terms of that, in that sense. And I wouldn't be too fussed if it was a loan. Because the loan still says to me that, Sancho is on for next summer. But if we end up spending 60, 80 million on Dembele plus whatever it would be, add-ons wise and things like that, I just think that, I mean, that says no to Sancho. It means you're committed to having a player, because he won't be on a small wage at Barcelona. So you're going to have to, again, get someone on a very big wage. And I just think that that's a risky game to play, considering he's not proved anything in the last 12 to 18 months. I mean, the point against the Scouts was in the...
Don't remind me. He came on, if you don't know, I say this all the time about Ousmane Dembele, and it's probably the most stupid reason for me not to like a player or not fancy him at Old Trafford, but I am that guy.
That could have crumbled everything for him.
Right, it's like, exactly, it's like the sort of the gender piece you take out where it all comes down.
Because if that season, they get knocked out there and then get lose to City, their season's
What we're talking about, in case you're wondering what on earth are we on about, is when Dembele came on against Liverpool, Barcelona are 3-0 up.
6 yards out.
In the Camp Nou. Messi, the counter-attack. Dembele does a decent ball to Messi, I'll give him that. Messi lays it on a plate for Dembele, put it in the net, so make it 4-0, it's game over.
And he just goes, Alisson, there you go, have this one
back. He does a glorified pass back. It finishes 3-0, and Liverpool win the home leg 4-0. And then go on to win the Champions League, and then subsequently get the tails up, and then go on to win the Premier League, and life gets
so Dembele, it was his fault that Liverpool won anything.
And I'll remind him that when he comes, if he comes,
he needs to apologise.
If he does kids with signs saying, "Can I have your shirt?" I'm going to say, "Are you going to apologise for what you did against the Scousers?"
Honestly, that's the first thing he needs to do. If he was, because if he gets given the 7 shirt as well, you need an apology before you get that 7 shirt.
Going back to anything. Originally, quite a more relevant point about his injury record. I mean, a couple of seasons ago, he managed 42 games in all competitions. Not bad. Last season, 9 games in all competitions, 1 goal. I know there's obviously gaps and stuff because of COVID, but...
9 games isn't enough for someone that, what is he, 22, 23?
Yeah. He's also, he went there for €100 million, €105 million plus 40 million in add-ons. Okay, Barcelona overpay. Well, that's a big, big chunk of money. And that was only 3 years ago, and now they're trying to loan him out. I mean, there's a lot of alarm bells ringing with this one. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know a lot about the lad other than that cameo against the Scousers, and from what I've seen, little bits of him when he was at Dortmund and little bits of him at Barcelona. But yes, he's a good young talented player, right? There's no doubt about that. You don't get a €145 million move to Barcelona if you're not good. But, Felipe Coutinho got a move like that, and is he great? Not really. I know he's had a better time at Bayern, but... There is
a little bit about Barca. You mentioned Coutinho there. There's a lot of players that go to Barcelona, and the fact that everything is about Messi means that they do struggle in terms of a couple. Alexis Sanchez played all right there, but didn't stand out there. Moved to Arsenal and did a lot better.
If you go from Barcelona to Arsenal, it's not going well.
It's not going well there, but at the same time, he didn't stand out there because Messi kind of and even Neymar, who had obviously a successful time there. He kind of got to the point and went, well, look, I want to be the star man, and wasn't getting that. Coutinho as well. Coutinho, Griezmann and things like that. They get a lot more slander there, even when they're doing okay. And maybe there's a little bit of pressure on someone that's 21 years old, too much of a fee. Maybe he thrived going somewhere else. I don't know. But I said, the injury record is more worrying to me. And, there's rumours as well. Steve mentioned them today of him turning up late for training and things like that. Dembele, and he's just one of them kind of. After he's done all this, he's one of them players that has done that, and that's not what you need, especially when you're struggling.
Another thing that worries me about Ousmane Dembele, from certain reports, are that he wanted to stay at Barca. We spoke to Mohamed Bahafsi, another very reliable journalist. Spoke to him on the Tier 1 podcast, and he was saying that he wanted to stay there. Dembele wanted to stay at Barca. It almost feels like he's being forced out,
Di Maria-esque.
Yeah, exactly. And, if you've got a player that hasn't had a great time of it, is injury prone, and it doesn't want to come to United, and you're sort of forcing him, saying, well, you're not performing here, we spent a lot of money on you, we're going to get a big fee for you, a big loan deal for you. Go to Old Trafford and sort of, A, do us a favour, and B, get your career going again. Then it's not the ideal scenario. You mentioned Angel Di Maria there. He came to United from Real Madrid, obviously didn't want to be here. His missus wanted to be even less. And his performances showed that. He just didn't want to be here.
Not just that. You look at Dembele coming in. I mean, if Sancho comes in, I think there's an argument. He walks straight into the team as a first choice, and I think that Mason is pushing in elsewhere. I think that Sancho's on slightly a bit different level to Mason right now. Dembele comes in, he's definitely not a guaranteed starter for Manchester United. I don't think he walks into that front three. I think Rashford, Martial and Greenwood are ahead of Dembele right now. And does that Sancho can push them and definitely have an argument to say that I'll play in any of those three positions, but I don't think that Dembele does.
No, on our poll over on the Twitter, we asked, if we don't sign Sancho this summer, transfer window, will we sign him next summer? Yes, next summer is 16.8%.
That's Max Cherry.
Pepsi Max Cherry. No, it's now or never, 83.2%. So everyone's saying if we don't get him now, well, most people say if we don't get him now, we ain't getting him. So United need to get our fingers out. Also, as well, Damesh Chef from Sky, forgive me for the terrible pronunciation there, he said Sancho confirmed that he wanted a United move. He made it clear before August the 1st that he wanted to move to Manchester United. Now, listen, I don't blame Dortmund for that. Sancho said he wanted to go. Dortmund said, all right then, there's a deadline of August the 10th, and here's the price tag, it's 120 million euros. They pay that off your pop. United didn't pay it, we didn't bid, we've gone through these intermediaries, nothing's been happening, and now it's what, October the 1st?
Shocking.
And we're still here.
Shocking.
I mean, it is ridiculous. Guys, get involved in the comments. Ross Murphy says he will head to Madrid next summer. Maybe Barca. Listen, wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if either of those two scenarios happened. Gaz 007 agreed, Alex, with how injury prone he is. Dembele might be a good option for the bench more than the starting 11.
And that's okay if you're spending. That's where we're kind of saying if you're not getting Sancho, you get someone else in. You mentioned Sarr from Watford, someone like that is happy to sit on the bench. Is going to push on and could potentially have go on to be a very good Premier League player and be a good squad player. And maybe even start a few games, but you're not spending 300 grand a week on someone. You're not spending 80 million pounds for someone that's not better than the three that we've got at the minute. Sancho's a different story. You're signing someone there that is on the cusp of, if not, world-class player.
Yeah.
And you sign him, he comes in, he ups everything. But signing someone like Dembele on that kind of money, and just for him to potentially improve our squad, maybe he does it, and that's if he stays fit. I'm not sure. I'm not a big fan of it at all.
There was another quote from Romano on Ousmane Dembele. Perfect timing that, producer Cam, well done. Confirmed Ousmane Dembele always said no to any loan or permanent bid on this summer. Also to Manchester United 2 weeks ago. Now United are pushing to convince Ousmane and talking with Barca, offering a loan, and Barca were asking for a permanent deal. Right, I mean, you said it yourself. If we are to get Dembele, and people may be watching this, if there are any non-United fans watching this, I doubt it, but you never know. You might be thinking, God, you spoil your United fans. You're moaning about the fact you're going to get a player of the talents of Ousmane Dembele, a 70, 80 million pound player, and we might end up with him. Well, you got to be realistic about what he brings to Manchester United now. He's going to move us closer to where we want to get to. We finished 33 points off the top of the table last season. We're in the Champions League. You did the draw today. Tough draw. Yeah. You're looking at players coming in, and are you going to get us to where we feel confident getting out of that group, getting us closer to near the top of the table where we want to be challenging? Is Dembele that guy? I don't know. I just have my worries, and like you say, injuries. We go out, we said we did go with a permanent deal, and we say, all right, Barca say lower the price a little bit, and you get him for, say, 60, 70 million. You think, not bad. They paid 100, 140 with add-ons. We're getting him for 60. But if he's not playing, he's no good to you. Yep. And if he's got injury issues, they're not going to suddenly get better when he comes to Manchester.
I mean, the wage structure at Barcelona is Messi skews it ridiculous, and it means that Griezmann's on £800,000 a week.
That's just silly.
Because Messi's on that high, anyone in that squad has the right to say, "Well, I'll have 350."
You know what? I'd love to be at Barca and just go. I'll tell you what. Just give me a tenth of what Messi's on.
You're not doing bad, are you? Right. So Dembele's not going to do too much of a drop-off. So you're looking at making him one of our highest-paid players.
Rusty says, Ousmane, them broken legs.
Can you go back up, Cam? There was a comment there about... They tagged us in it. Keep going. There you go. If you had the chance to speak to Jadon Sancho now, and you were to convince him to come to United, what would you say to convince him?
Hang on a minute. Hang on.
And what would you say? It's very...
Jadon, yeah, hang on. I've got him here. It's Sancho Baggers he wants to speak to you.
Look, mate. Come to Manchester. You'll love it here, to start with. And you've seen... I'm not holding the phone. I'm not holding the phone. Go on, you do it. I'm not holding the phone.
Come to Manchester, Jadon. Listen, you've not lived until you've seen Eccles at dusk. Until you've been in that Trafford Centre.
I've heard 42s is opening again.
42's opening again. Get down to Irmston Bath, son. I'll tell you what, you'll have a ball. There you go, that's what I'd say to him. No, if I was to switch to Jadon Sancho, try and convince him to come to Manchester United, I'd say you come in here, you're playing alongside the likes of Mason Greenwood, Anthony Martial, Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba. You'd be joining one of the best attacking front fives in world football. And I mean that.
And it could be there for the next 7 or 8 years, if all goes well.
Yeah, exactly.
They're all... Pogba's the oldest one there at 27, 28 years old.
He's got at least, the way he looks after himself, Pogba as well, he'll play at least into his mid-30s.
Jadon, you're getting the number 7 shirt as well.
You're getting the number 7 shirt. He knows the area. He's obviously been in Manchester before.
You get to see your old mate Ronaldo all the time.
Get to see your old mate Ronaldo Brown, yeah. So there's lots of reasons why he should come to Manchester United. And don't forget, right, even though we can hate on ourselves and go, Man United, look at the state of us, the Glazers, we can't stand, done this to us, we are still one of the biggest clubs in the world. We're still the biggest club in this country by a country mile.
Yep,
so
absolutely.
If you're going to come to England, you go to the biggest club, it's Manchester United. Reagan Pinto in the Super Chat says, United should go for Ben Rama. What a talent, 10 times cheaper than Sancho. I mean, there may be some twists on deadline day. I can see United panicking if we don't get Jadon Sancho, which I don't think we will. And if Dembele doesn't happen, I can see...
and I can see us getting players that are going to not be... from the Football League that aren't registered for... I think... Getting that through. I could see us getting Sarr in and not having for the Champions League.
For anyone who's wondering what you're on about, Baggers, explain yourself.
Transfer deadline shuts on the 5th of October for any international transfers. So if you sign anyone from the Spanish League, whatever. Also, on the 6th of October, that is the deadline to submit your squad for Champions League, Europa League and things like that. However, the EFL transfers and transfers within British football goes on to the 16th of October. So we mentioned things like Ismail Sarr, even players, all sorts of different players in the Championship that are looking at as different options. They can happen all the way up until the 16th. Even players in the Premier League. I mean, we've not really been linked with anyone from other clubs in the Premier League. But
those days, I mean, not say those days, we bought 2 from the Premier League last season, but it's not as often as it used to be where we'd always sort of tap into that.
But even things like there was obviously the David Brooks rumours, which I wouldn't be a huge fan now.
Someone in the chat saying David Brooks on transfer deadline day. 3 crying laughing emojis.
David Brooks, Josh King. I'm not a huge fan of that transfer, but it does mean we've got another 11 days to get that done. They can come into Manchester United, but they cannot play Champions League football, which after today we need as many players as we can to play. If we can try and get a 12th one on against as many times as we can, we might need it, I think.
Yeah, I know it's transfer, but we'll mention the Champions League in a minute. Guys, don't forget to hit like as well. Hit like, share, and subscribe as well. If you're not subscribing, we'll put a subscription link in the chat as well, so you can click on that. Yeah, a lot of people just saying shambles. Someone's saying Akeem saying shambles. Others saying, Sarr could be another Daniel James. I'm a big fan of Ismail Sarr. I think he's a decent young player. I think he can do a job in the Premier League, as we've seen. And I think, as Baggers said, if you get Ismail Sarr in, it doesn't necessarily close the door full stop on Jadon Sancho for next summer, even though, as some of you mentioned, it may not be that easy, as also Konstantin Ekner mentioned as we spoke to him earlier today. He was saying that, listen, the likes of Chelsea could enter the race next season, so don't be too surprised if we don't get him this summer, if next summer it becomes even more difficult. If you're Jadon Sancho now, what do you do? Does he keep his head down? Does he say nothing? Or does he go in there and start kicking over tables? Has he done everything he can, do you feel?
I think he's doing the right thing, to be honest. We've mentioned it a couple of times. I think that the down tools kind of attitude, especially when you've got Man United on the other end of it, might not work. Because it's one of them, if he says, I want to go to Manchester United, Dortmund's still going to go, well, it's 120 million. And if United don't come through with that, now he's playing for Dortmund next season, or this season, with all the pressure on him and things like that, and the fans get behind him, the players in the dressing room going, hang on mate, do you really want to be here and all this kind of stuff? I don't think that's the right thing to do. The best thing to do is keep his head down. And also, you don't want that. We don't want a Manchester United player doing that.
Just stop it, pause it there. Sorry, go on, keep going. Pause it there. Just what that Javier Brown.
Yeah, we don't want that as a Man United player. We've had that before with, we've kind of got rid of this squad. We've kind of gone through this squad and made sure that this squad is a team that wants to play for Manchester United. And the only probably question mark in that is Paul Pogba, who obviously said that. And you saw what Pogba did last year where he kind of mentioned that. Even his good performances last year, there were still fans on his back saying, yeah, but you don't really want to be here, do you? And that that's not what you want your fans to be saying every time you're playing. And I think that Jadon Sancho does that. Don't think it's good for Dortmund. Don't think it's good for Manchester United.
I think with Pogba people lose their minds. I think it's crackers. You see the goal last night, it was deflected. And it's like, people just couldn't wait to mention the fact it was deflected. And then people going on the other side of the spectrum, people going on about how amazing goal it was. And you think, he's took a free kick, he scored it, I'm happy. I'm glad for him as well, because I like Paul Pogba. But you've got these sort of warring factions, and it's like, don't give me any credit for that, it was deflected. And then the other side of the spectrum, it's an amazing goal, and you think, well, neither of those two cases, right? He's a Manchester United player, and I like him, and he's very, very talented, and I'll get behind him. But I think sometimes we go a bit crazy over Paul Pogba.
I've had many arguments with people that try to tell me that Paul Pogba isn't our best player. They say, he is on his day, but he doesn't try enough.
Have you ever seen Eric Bailly play football? Stop talking rubbish. Javier Brown says, Upamecano should have been bought. Now we're going to face him and cry. We spoke to Konstantin Ekner about that today, and he said that we did inquire about Dayot Upamecano, but it was too little too late, and we could maybe get him after his next season. He's got a buyout clause. Falk said that as well, that United made inquiries about Upamecano, but he said the same thing. He said that those inquiries weren't a solid offer. It was just like, what's happening with him? And Leipzig were like,
I've said Upamecano's next season's kind of, I think they've penciled in centre-half, top centre-half next season is Upamecano, someone like that, because I still think he wants to give Bailly a chance. I think that's his big thing. I think that his kind of comments last night after the game, I think he's trying to manage him. He's trying to make sure that he doesn't come in, play one game.
Because after the Luton game, I expected him to start the Brighton League game, and he didn't. And I think you're right. Ollie's managing him in a sort of softly approach, and I get that, because I think ideally, if Eric Bailly's fit, he's the perfect foil for Harry Maguire. Because Harry Maguire is good. I think he gets a lot of stick. Harry Maguire. He's good on the ball. He's good in the air. He can read the game fairly well.
You have someone with a bit of pace next to him as well.
And Eric Bailly, great defender, times his tackles most of the time quite well. Not just his physical attributes, it's not just about physicality. Obviously, he's a very, very good defender. He's a very talented defender, and he's also good on the ball. Eric Bailly, if you watch him, the only problem with Eric Bailly is sometimes he's fucking mental, and he will just do things you like.
I mean, I was at the Bournemouth game under, I think it was about January time under Ollie last season. Not last season, season before, when he was still caretaker. And United, I think, Rashford scored an unbelievable goal, Pogba scored. I think we were 2 or 3-1 up. And next minute, Bailly's come in with his tackle, and the whole stadium, there wasn't even like, let's stay quiet, hope he doesn't get the red. Everyone went, he's getting sent off there, isn't he? That was it. That was the whole thing to the stadium. Everyone went, yeah, that's a red, that, isn't it? And you're like, why have you done that? He got into the team. He was playing a lot. I think it was him and Lindelof were in there. He got Phil Jones out of the team at that point. And he just does something like that. There you go, suspended for 3 games. Cheers, Eric, top man. And you're like, why have you done that? And then he gets injured and things like that. And you just kind of need, let's get him into the team. And Adam McCall has been critical of Ollie, because he's the biggest Eric Bailly fan in the world, and has been critical, saying he should be playing more. But I think Ollie's comments after last night's game saying, look, be patient with him. He's had a horrendous time with injuries. Let's bleed him into the team slowly. Let's not throw him in, have him do 10 games and then lose him for the season, because that's what's happened before. Let's try and get him back into the team slowly, and then we can have him for 30, 40 games in the season, which I'm hoping he plays on Sunday, though, against Spurs.
Me too. Lots of people in the comments. People asking about Alex Telles. Again, it's a sort of a mini Jadon Sancho one, where we know that United want him. We know that Porto sort of resigned to the fact they're going to sell him. Porto apparently want roughly around 20 million, which in this day and age seems like pennies. But Manchester United are saying, no, we want to only offer you 16 million. Now, Telles has 9 months on his current contract with Porto. So I think there's a bit of thing there where United are thinking, well, if you don't sell him now, you're not going to get anything for him. Whereas Porto are thinking, well, in the current climate, a player who scored 13 goals last season, I think, as a left back or left wing back, should be at least 20 million quid. Over in the super chat, that Waterboy says, cheers lads, just showing support to the number one source of information to Manchester United latest, all the way from Texas, ladies and gents. Haven't been to Manchester since 2006. I'm guessing that's some form of protest against Glazers, although if you are in Texas, that might just because in 14 years, you
not a chance to come over.
You couldn't have a chance. But listen, it's the age-old argument we have. A lot of us on this channel are season ticket holders. like I was talking there about going to the game, being at the game. It's something, we've wrestled with in many cases. Do you boycott games? Is that the next stage you take the protest? I know some of the lads that did, went over to FC, we've had them on the channel, like George Baker and people like that. I respect what they did, I get it. But my attitude towards the Glazers has always been, I can't stand them, I was here before them, and I'll be here after them, and I'm going to keep going.
I think that's
my club.
Steve mentions it a lot as well, saying, look, a lot of people say that, but it's, at the end of the day, we enjoy going as fans. We enjoy going to watch Manchester United games, and that's always going to be the case.
Most of the time, unless it's Van Gaal in charge.
Most of the time, and it's something that we do. It's something that we want to do on a Saturday, want to do on a Sunday, and things like that. And just taking that out, you don't want to lose that. And it's not like we can go and support another. It's not like I'm going to go and support another team. You're always going to be a Man United fan, and I think to boycott a game is a difficult thing to do, and to stop that. And also, I'm still at the point. To be honest, I don't think they'd care that much. I think they'd still figure out a way of spinning it and making it a better thing for them. But like you said, it's our club.
It is our club, and it is difficult though, and we hate what's happening to it. And another thing as well, it isn't just about transfers with the Glazers; it's what they've done. Not back the manager, but they've also, they've taken out these loans, they've plunged us into debt. They always take a dividend, no matter what the situation. There's parts of Old Trafford that need repairing. I could go on and on and on, but I won't.
I'll jump on that comment that Sid said there. Can you stop it just there for us, Cam? Guys, your thoughts on Vinmo, the football director at Sevilla, having a bit of a rant on United not having a director of football and leave it to Woodland for transfers. Do you think he's right? I think it's probably one of our PR things that said, can you have just mention
Really?
That? It's very strange how everything, when we don't sign someone, the director of football thing comes up. And maybe this is a new angle for their PR thing of just saying, look, get him to mention it.
Regardless of the reasons he said it, do you agree with it?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, right, I do think we should have a director of football, but I think that if we get a director of football, they have to be given that role. And also, given the direct role as director of football, because we know Patrice was interviewed for it, Darren Fletcher was interviewed for it, Rio Ferdinand was interviewed. 3 players that, regardless of what you think about their capabilities for that job, are absolute Manchester United through and through and want the best for Manchester United. None of them took that job. Why? It wasn't wages, it wasn't anything like that. It was because that job wasn't what it was cracked up to be. You weren't going to be director of football. You were going to be an ambassador. You're going to be someone to blame when we didn't get Jadon Sancho or when we didn't get, I don't know, whoever. So they said no thanks, and that's the reason you had 3 players there, or 3 ex-players, I should say, who all were interviewed for it. None of them took it.
For me, if for the plan of getting the Jadon Sancho maybe been planned for 2-3 years, Paul Pogba was planned for 2-3 years. The next plan we should be getting is how do we get Edwin van der Sar as that job? Because for me, you mentioned those 3 guys there. Van der Sar has been a director of football. He's played for Manchester United. He's done all the business side of things now. He's just as qualified as anyone to go and do that job. And I think that long term, I think you have to be looking at someone like Van der Sar. He's your he's the main target for that job. No one else from different clubs. You need someone that. We mentioned that the one thing about Ollie and Mike Phelan coming back in is that they get Man United a bit. Van der Sar gets Manchester United, but also has experience in that role. To me, he's the one you should be going for. And if that takes 2 or 3 years, I'd accept that. But, there needs to be a plan in place to get Van der Sar in as the director of football.
It will be a great choice, but no matter who comes in, whether it's director of football or not...
It needs to be that job.
Yeah, you need to be backed as well. You need to be backed in the transfer market. You need to have the money to spend. Director of football coming in, if he's not got money to spend, then he ain't going to be able to do a very good job. Now, we've spoken about potential ins. One potential out that, again, seems to be turning into a bit of a saga.
Forever.
He's Chris Smalling. I think it was Fabrizio Romano again said, obviously if you don't know, Chris Smalling went on loan to Roma last season, had a fantastic season for them, the fans absolutely loved him. It looked set in stone, he was going to go there on a permanent move this summer. Like, he wants to go there, they love him, United don't want him, happy days. But there's been this back and forth over the fee. United want 20 million and have dug our heels in. Roma are like, well, 12 million, and United are like having none of it. Anyway, Fabrizio Romano has been talking about it. He said, as Roma will submit a new bid for Chris Smalling on next 24 hours after United don't want to loan out Diogo Dalot as part of the deal. Roma have asked also for Fosu Mensah to be included in the negotiations. Now, not the details of that, but I think what he's saying there is Roma was saying, well, we'll have Dalot on loan, and United are saying no. So Roma were saying, well, OK, we'll give you the money for Smalling. Can we get Fosu Mensah on loan, I presume, as well? What do you make of all of that?
The Chris Smalling one, I think that will happen. I think that for as much as everyone's slagging off United for how they're acting around Alex Telles and Sancho and things like that, I think other clubs do it as well. And Roma are doing the same thing there, where they're kind of saying, look, we want to spend this much, you want us to get that much, but the longer we leave it, the more they'll panic. And especially when there's a player there, Chris Smalling, that isn't going to play. I think he'd be like it's just wages that we don't need. I think the Smalling one will happen. I think that the Smalling one is also the kind of key to the Telles one going through quickly. I think that United...
I think it is one in, one out in terms of United looking at it going, if we get 18 million for Smalling, then you can have your 18 million for Telles.
I just think that the figures, for me, just seem too close, and just the pattern of both deals where it's going, saying they want it, the couple of million apart. I think as soon as if Roma up it to 15, 16 million, I think United just go, there you go, there's Alex Telles and get it done. The Fosu Mensah one's strange because I think Diogo Dalot played last night and I don't think he did himself any favours in terms of proving that why he should be a starter at least, and I don't know whether he offers more than Fosu Mensah. I think Ollie probably prefers Fosu Mensah as backup to Wan-Bissaka, I think, just defensively.
Well, he sort of... Fosu Mensah was the forgotten man. He had those loan spells, didn't he, at Fulham, at Crystal Palace. Didn't really work out. In fact, you could argue the case that they were almost disastrous. Injuries have he's just been riddled with injuries. He's had no luck at all. I feel for him, man, because he's just like, every time it looks like he's sort of getting somewhere, he doesn't have any luck with injuries. Comes back into the squad, or back to Old Trafford, I should say. Trains, gets his head down, and then all of a sudden gets back into the United team. It was a shock, wasn't it, last season when all of a sudden he was called up as Crystal Palace. Yeah, I think he was. And he sort of leapfrogged over Diogo Dalot, everyone thought was our third choice left back. And when Brandon and Luke Shaw didn't play, Brandon Williams and Luke Shaw, then it was Fosu Mensah. I like Fosu Mensah, great player. I don't think he needs another loan deal. I don't think he needs to be part of any Chris Smalling to Roma negotiations whatsoever. I think give him a season here. Give him a full season of, right, you're not going on loan. You've had a loan to Fulham, you've had loans to Palace. They didn't work out at all. Show us that player that burst onto the scene in 2016 with Marcus, and who everyone was like, this guy's amazing. Do you know what I mean? I remember he's at Upton Park, I think, against West Ham, where he was phenomenal. I think he played in midfield at that time, if memory serves. He had that bit of bad luck in the semi-final, didn't he, against Everton. He gave away the penalty that Lukaku missed. And I said Van der Sar then. Van Gaal subbed him, fell out of him, it seemed, blamed him for it. And that was almost the end of his Manchester United career. Guys, do get involved in the comments. Let us know what you think about Chris Smalling to Roma, what you think about Fosu Mensah being included in that deal. Diogo Dalot, Baggers said, didn't do himself any favours the other night against Brighton in the Carabao Cup. Do you agree? Do you think it's time to get some money in for Dalot?
Do you think?
And it's all over for him.
Do you think we've got enough? If we got Telles in,
yes,
that means you've got Telles and Shaw as left backs. Wan-Bissaka and maybe even Williams goes over to cover at right back. Do you think that's enough if you got rid of... If Fosu Mensah did go out on loan for some reason and we sold Dalot, do you think there's enough there in that four as full-backs?
Yeah, I mean...
Or do you think you still need Fosu Mensah or Dalot to be one of them sticking about as cover, or...
I mean, I think you've probably got enough there, and the issue you've got... I mean, you've still got Ethan Laird as well, haven't you?
If he gets fit as well.
Yeah, if he gets fit. Over on the Paddock Twitter, we've done a poll. Baggers told me about this poll.
So, if we don't sign Jadon Sancho this summer, will we sign him next summer? And yes, next summer is one of the options. That's 13.4%, and then 86.6%. No, it's now or never.
It's now or never. Don't worry, I won't burst in a song. Guys, get involved in the comments. Let us know what you think.
Should we go to the other poll?
Yeah, sorry, we've got another one.
Another poll. Are you confident that United will make it out of the group stage in the Champions League? Yes, for progress. 45 more people than not think that yes, we'll progress through. There's a 38.1% saying not sure, and no, there's no chance is 16.8%.
We'll get to the Champions League draw in a minute, because I know you and Howson were talking about it. You covered it live for the whole 90 minutes, so don't envy you in that. Just on the outgoings as well, Andreas Pereira, another forgotten man of Manchester United Football Club. This was on a website that I often visit, Lazio News 24, and they were saying Andreas Pereira is ready to start his Lazio adventure. Today he will arrive in Rome. Tomorrow morning he will carry out routine clinical tests. Pereira is the latest signing of the, I'm not even going to say that word, transfer market. The player expected in Rome today will undergo routine medical examinations tomorrow morning. That is about as here we go as can be said. What am I looking at here? Arsenal have just beat Liverpool. Is that on penalties? Yeah. Arsenal just beat Liverpool on penalties in the Carabao Cup, if anyone cares.
I don't think Jurgen Klopp does, to be honest.
I know, I don't. I mean, okay, the Scouts has got beat. What do you do? I'm always happy to see that, but, you know, I'm not overly bothered. Just the way it is. Hey, well, hang on a minute. What's this? Andrew saying, can you give my friend Gail a shout out? She's a Parisian having a bad day today, and I've converted her and her family to United. I thought I was going to say something else there. She's also following Stretford Paddock. Much love. Yes, so big shout out to Gail.
Hello.
Well done, Sid, WS, Andrew Afune.
I'm leaving you to it.
Pronunciation's terrible, forgive me. I hope you're going to make her aware that you might have converted her, but she's going to be in for a bumpy ride here with the dramas that go on in Manchester United Football Club. Andreas Pereira.
Good to see him go.
Yeah. Ta-da.
You've never seen a player get more chances in a United shirt and be so poor.
This is what I was about you, Barry. You talk in a lot of sense. I've said this.
And the other thing is, my defence of Andreas Pereira is the amount of people under Mourinho are going, why aren't you putting Pereira into the team? Because we've got no creativity, and there's this lad, he's been at Valencia, he's great and done this. Get him in the team, get him in the team, get him in the team. And Mourinho's just kind of going...
The thing with Andreas Pereira, right, he was like Jordi Cruyff, right? You're a bit too young. Jordi Cruyff, pre-season in the summer, he looked like his dad. You were like, he's just like Johan Cruyff. He's amazing. He's the best player I've ever seen. Why did Barcelona let us have him? This is brilliant. And then you play him like 1 or 2 games and he'd show you these things, little glimpses, you think, yeah, quality class, yeah. And then all of a sudden, he'd go missing for 6 months where he'd just be garbage and you're like, hang on a minute, what's going on? He was mint like pre-season. And Pereira did that. Pre-season, Pereira, he'd remind you who he was, and you think, hang on a minute. And then I remember one pre-season where I always thought of him as like an attacking midfielder. He played as a DM.
He did,
and was
didn't he?
smashing into players.
And he was spraying it about in your life.
And you're like, oh, this kid's got it. And I remember one game where he played when he was a youngster and he scored a free kick. You're like, oh, he can score free kicks.
Well, yeah, because it was his debut under Van Gaal in the Cup.
Yeah.
Came on, scored a free kick. Even last season was it under Ollie last season? Not season before, sorry.
Yeah.
Against Southampton, scored that absolute winner against them from about 40 yards. And
so he'd always sort of like, just when you thought, no, he'd do something. But last season, I don't think there was any of those moments whatsoever.
He kicked Raheem Sterling.
That was it. He came on against City.
Just absolutely volleyed
2-1 up, yeah. Raheem Sterling went on the counter and Pereira did that. That'll probably be, how he's best remembered at Old Trafford. Benjamin Bessemer in the Super Chat says, evening guys, love the content. We need Sancho ASAP. I agree with all of those comments. Yeah, guys, do get involved with the comment. Do hit like as well. Let us know what you think about Pereira. Let us know what you think about Smalling. Let us know if you think Jadon Sancho is going to come. Someone else, Ross Murphy, saying Pereira will probably tear it up at Lazio. Will. The thing is, right...
His highlight reel will be unbelievable.
It will be. He'll go to Lazio and he'll do well because Italian football is a little bit slower than English football. Suits players... And Pereira's not a terrible footballer, he's just not good enough for Manchester United. We saw it last season when Inter took half our reserves and they all shone, didn't they?
You seen who else Inter have got today?
Go on.
Darmian from Parma.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Do you know what? I've always had a soft spot for Matteo Darmian.
Anyway,
started against Ajax in the Europa League final. So let's never forget that Matteo Darmian has won as many European trophies for Manchester United as Manchester City won in their entire history. There's a bit of a trivia for you, and that's something that I like to always remind people of. Just before we start wrapping up as well, you were doing the Champions League draw. We will mention Champions League. I know it's not transfers, but it's United and it's football and it's happened today. In case you didn't know, United have drawn PSG, RB, I always get this wrong, Leipzig, Leipzig, thank you. Istanbul, Başakşehir. Shahir, probably got that completely wrong.
You've really not done well. I'm not even going to attempt it. I'm going to leave you to it with that one.
That team from Turkey.
That Rafael plays for.
That Rafael de Silva, one of my favourite players.
People of all time.
I'd say he'll get, if there is fans in the ground,
we get a standing ovation by people just stood outside.
Do you know what I loved about Rafael, right? He just... sounds like we're keeping Bruce Cam awake. Apologies. Do you remember when he got in Tevez's face? Or when he smashed into Gerrard against Liverpool? He was always one of those players that just... He was like having a United fan on the pitch, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was like one of us playing for United. He just always got stuck in. Also, could play as well. Just injury prone, man. That was the only reason, the thing with him. But we shouldn't have sold him. Sold him too early.
Van Gaal got it wrong with him, definitely.
Let us know about, get involved in the comments. Someone, Ross Murphy, saying Raphael coming home. Couldn't agree more. He's always saying little things as well, isn't he, Raphael, on social media.
He still loves it.
He fired shots at City. He fired shots at Sanchez, didn't he, when Sanchez was saying, like, after one training session I went to go home, and he was like, is that why he didn't turn up, or whatever it was. Had a problem with the game. Did you see what Marcus Rashford, actually, on a completely unrelated note, tweeted about Romelu Lukaku?
No.
He tweeted something, I don't know why he did, but he tweeted about Paris, which is relevant, actually, because Paris Saint-Germain have been drawing against them. When we played Paris away, which is more or less the game that won Ollie a permanent deal, Lukaku scored 2 in the first half hour. Yeah. And Rashford tweeted this, and he sort of said, in fact, I'll bring it up so I can completely quote him correctly rather than just paraphrasing. He said, let me tell you a little story about Romelu Lukaku. He tweeted this about an hour ago. We are playing PSG in the second leg of the Champions League. Picture the scene now if you can't remember. With little hope of qualifying. 2-0 down on aggregate. And just to add a bit more insult to injury, Paul Pogba's suspended. There you go. 2 minutes in, Romelu scores. 30 minutes in, Rom scores. We need one more goal to qualify. 94th minute, penalty. Rom steps up, picks up the ball and hands it to me. He knew this was my moment. He knew it would be me that got all the news coverage for scoring that penalty, and he was okay with that, ignoring the fact that he was the most instrumental part of that win. That tells you all you need to know about Romelu Lukaku. Selfless, a team player, never afraid to dim his light for others to shine. That's my brother, and I appreciate him.
Rashford's just like one of the nicest people in the world, isn't he, at the minute? He didn't need to do any more to make everyone just go,
I'm getting to the point now where I can't be on a watch long if Marcus Rashford's playing, because if anyone says anything, I'm going to flip the table against it. I'm going to flip the table up and start smashing up things. I think I genuinely love Marcus Rashford. He's just amazing. He's just such a great guy.
I think people forget it. I mean, he's so good still. I think people.
And he's great at football. Let's not forget. You see that goal against Brighton for all Muppets. He's saying he should concentrate on football. It's not feeding kids. Yeah, all right.
He's just.
But that
unbelievable.
I don't know why. I think he's just referenced maybe because of the Champions League draw. But you know, Lukaku wasn't my favourite player. I'm not going to lie.
No,
but that's nice of Marcus.
The way that Lukaku left United as well. Obviously, it didn't go on great terms, you know. Pulling up the stats about all the sprinting things and trying to throw Luke Shaw and Juan Mata.
Lukaku's problem, I think, sometimes on socials, he gets rattled by things.
And that's probably why
he replies to people, doesn't he? And he gets like annoyed at things, and he's like.
And that's why I don't think United was for him. I think
because United Twitter and United socials can be absolutely unforgiving.
Yeah.
Go on, Baggers, talk through this.
Here is the results of our polls tonight. The first one is if we don't sign Sancho this summer, will we sign him next summer? The poll, 13.7% said yes next summer, 86.3% no, it's now or never.
Now or never. Sorry, I'm going to stop doing that now. It's annoying.
I'm not.
Right.
I'm sort of in the middle of that one. I wouldn't be able to. I don't know there because I still think that there's a chance next summer, but I think we need him this summer. I think if we don't get him this summer, I think that next summer we're in a completely different position because I don't know. If we don't get a right winger, I don't think Ollie's in a job by Christmas. I'm honestly in that. If we don't get a forward
statement,
I don't think
from Alex Baggers.
I don't think we've got enough to keep Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the job. And the next one.
Talk to me about the next one.
Are you confident?
We'll talk about the draw.
Are you confident Man United will make it out of the group stage in the UEFA Champions League? Yes, will progress 44.7%. Not sure 38.5%. And only 16.9% said no, there's no chance.
Let's weigh this up then. If anyone doesn't know, we've got PSG. Beat them already, don't worry about that.
Yeah, there is.
RB Leipzig. Who?
They've lost that. They lost
soft
that
drinks brand, all right.
Not very good that plays for Chelsea.
Istanbul, Başakşehir.
Who I don't think are great, but the problem, obviously, every time you get Turkish, Russian teams, things like that, it's the travel kind of thing. And with all this stuff going on, I don't think that makes it any easier. Obviously, a little bit less intimidating going to these grounds. I don't think Istanbul's the nicest place to go and play football with this. So, with no fans in stadiums, I think that's probably a better draw than it would have been.
Do you fancy us for this or what? Because I look at that, right, and everyone's going, oh, no. And you think, all right, it's a tough group.
It's a tough draw.
It is, but
I don't think we're miles off Leipzig.
I think we're better than Leipzig. I don't think our 11 against their 11.
Players-wise, I don't think they're anywhere near as good as us. No. PSG are... You don't know what you're getting.
Depends which PSG turn up.
Depends what PSG turn up. If that front three ever gets going, they are obviously unbelievable. But you know they've lost. They just haven't got that mentality. And again, I don't think they've signed. I mentioned this before. Have they signed anyone this year? They've not improved on last year.
They usually go out, don't they, and buy like spend 2 players for like £500 million or something.
So
ridiculous.
I don't think that PSG. I think to get to the Champions League final, you have to be all right. You can't be that bad. Although Tottenham did that, so. I'm going to retract that statement.
Don't know about that.
Don't know about that. So, I don't know. PSG aren't that good. And again, Istanbul, with no crowds there, makes things a little bit easier. Don't think it's quite as a hostile place to go to. I think they should get a comfortable win at home. It's always the away leg in those kind of fixtures that are
Guys,
tough.
Get involved in the comments. What do you think? Do you think we're going to go through? Do you think that we can win the group? Do you think we'll finish third in the group? Some people were saying about that the other day. Just let us know in the comments, and also hit like as well. Hit like and
Dan
subscribe.
Smith kind of put the thing in there.
Go on, what's he saying?
We won't win the Champions League anyway. Right. So, and that attitude.
Go on.
There's a little bit of that. I kind of go, realistically.
Right.
You're right. A little bit. You're right. Champions League isn't. We shouldn't be winning it. Right. Considering how we've got into it. But at the same time, we can't just go into it and go.
Right. Let me ask you a question then. Right. Can Manchester United finish 5th in the Premier League this season?
Absolutely.
Can we finish 6th then?
Absolutely.
Chelsea won the Champions League and finished 6th. Scousers won the Champions League and finished 5th. So why couldn't we?
Could. We're good. We get to a semi-final at least. We're good at that, aren't we? I don't know. Look, I mean... Is there
not a case to be made, all right, I'm a little bit playing devil's advocate here though, that R11
can beat anyone?
Can beat anyone? Especially,
I think so.
Over either 2 games or in a one-off game.
I think so. I think you almost, like you mentioned about 5th and 6th, you almost need to sack the league off a little bit though. I don't think, especially with the squad we've got now, especially not doing the signings we should have done. Because
the thing as well is, most of the time, the best team in Europe doesn't always win the Champions League.
Unless it's 99 and 2008.
Unless it's 99 and 2008, obviously, and 1968, yes, he's right. But, were Porto the best team in the world in Europe when they built it in 2004?
No, it was
us. The Scousers in 2005.
No, it was us.
Barca were in 2006, I'll give you that. Were AC Milan the best team in Europe in 2007?
Absolutely not.
Do you know what I mean?
No.
It's
United were then the year after Barca.
Chelsea in 2012 were not the best team in Europe.
Even Madrid.
Can't breathe the camera, yeah.
Even Madrid winning it.
When they won.
One of those years they won it. Were they probably better? I think they only won the league one of those years.
So the point is, you don't necessarily have to be the best team. You can, anything can happen, and you can sort of go on a little run in the Champions League. You can get, some kind knockout games, if you can say that, some draws in knockout games. I mean, you've seen better teams like City, for example, struggle in the Champions League, and you've seen certain teams who always seems to do well in that competition. So I don't think you can say, "Oh, we're in it, but that's it. We've got no chance."
And we're not.
I'm not saying we're in the Champions League, but you're in it. You're in.
It's not about sacking it off, but what it is that it's managing the expectations a little bit with that squad.
Do you know what? Do you know what really annoys me though? Is the fact that a club like Manchester United, and me and you stood there, and every fan who's on the internet and who goes to the game or whatever, however you support the club, doesn't matter. We'll all be saying the same thing, and all be saying the same thing is like, probably not got a chance of winning it. Well, why have our standards have slipped so far?
And that's it.
Do you know why it is? Because we're being pragmatic, and the fact is we've not been backed properly. No. The manager's not been backed properly in the transfer market, and we're stood here with 4 days to go before the end of the transfer window, technically, still wondering if we're going to get the player we wanted 6 months ago, or whatever it was, over the line. And it's a shambles. Just before we wrap up, Mr. Baggers, I know this isn't transfers, and loads of people now are probably going, "Why are you talking about this?"
But it's Manchester United.
It's Manchester United,
and informed in everything.
I'll mention it briefly before we wrap up. Gareth Southgate, don't even know him. Got a beard, wears a waistcoat. He's the England manager as well. Now, he's not picked Mason Greenwood and some City lad called Phil Foden. Don't know about him. Usually gets on in the 8.5 minute. He's left him out of the England squad because they had some girls back to their room during the last international. He said that he's given a statement where he's more or less said, they need to learn and that sort of thing. We won't accept that behaviour. What do you make of that? Just to wrap it up, because obviously Mason Greenwood, we all love him. He's dynamite.
Yep.
Are you bothered about that? Are you annoyed or do you care?
Scholesy summed it up. said he put on his, I think it was Instagram story saying, look, they've left them out. It's obviously because England have got so many talented players and forwards and aren't struggling for goals, because you've got two of the most talented players there. Steve mentioned, I don't know why he grouped Phil Foden into that, but he did, and said obviously they're not struggling for players, but I think they are. And I think the double standards with it as well. I think that you've got, I mean, before you mentioned first thing, Harry Maguire's been put back in the squad. Now, I think that it's fine, but you binned him out last time for the stuff that happened in Greece. Surely is that not still, if this is your standards, surely that's an ongoing thing and you shouldn't have done that. And then you talk about
battering Greek policemen and ringing girls back to your room.
If it's a COVID thing, you've got Kyle Walker, Jack Grealish, both broke lockdown rules over the thing, and they're still in the squad for England. I don't get it. I don't get why they've singled out these two players, and I think that he's made a massive
Douglas
mistake.
keeps commenting, there you go.
He's made a massive mistake with you've got. I'm still going. I think Phil Foden is a talented footballer. I think you've got two unbelievable type players.
I'm looking forward to seeing Phil Foden playing for Spurs in a few years' time.
Yeah, he'll do really well there. But you've got a future Ballon d'Or winner, Mason Greenwood. If you're not putting him in every single England squad from now on, I don't know what's.
I just think it's really pathetic from Gareth Southgate. I think it's a load of nonsense. Right? It was dealt with. They got punished. They got sent home. It was all, it was done. The club spoke to them as well and put out statements, and they acknowledged what they did. And he didn't need now to sort of bring his dick about by going, bring it back up again. And look, I'm not having it, and I'm the boss. Mate, as Andy Taylor said, you got the job on a technicality anyway, Southgate, because let's face facts,
you were the
nothing in your CV, either as a player or as a manager, should have got you in there. You got to the World Cup in one of the easiest World Cup runs we've ever had in the history of association football. And now you're acting like you're Sir Alex Ferguson. Well, you're not. Leave Mason alone. That's about it for today.
Yeah! Leave him alone.
Leave him alone. Or just put it back in the squad. Guys, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. We've got loads of good stuff coming up on the channel, as you would expect. We'll have the press conference reaction tomorrow. We'll have the podcast and all that good stuff. We'll have the match preview for the Spurs game. On the Spurs game, you'll have the watch along with him. Howson and Joe.
It's almost like an old school Paddock one, that one.
It's old school.
We're kicking out the devil's lot.
I mean,
back to Paddock.
Sulking watch. Me and Andy Tate will be in the corner sulking. And we've been relegated to the half-time and the review show, which I don't mind anyway, because it gives me a chance to sort of sit in the corner with Andy and rant. So we've got all that good stuff. And next Monday, deadline day,
we've got loads planned.
You're involved, whether you like it or not.
I don't want
everyone is on the channel, because you're going to have basically 12 hours of live videos.
Honestly, subscribe, because it's going to be.
Yeah, and we've got big guests coming on, journalists that you know, like, trust me on this one. We're going to be at OT, we're going to be at other places as well, speaking to some reporters. We'll be all over it. If anything happens, whether it's Jadon Sancho, Ousmane Dembele, Alex Tellez, whoever, we'll have it
I go Manchester
instantaneously.
You're Manchester Airport with
we'll
binoculars.
Send him to Manchester Airport to stand on a
step ladder. Cut to me now and again, just going, no, there's no planes, so that's it.
My mate Craig Norwood used to love doing that. Right, this has been Stretford Paddock Transfers Live. That's been Alex Baggers. I've been Jay Motti. Thanks for watching.